Let's talk about sinking funds. What are they? How do you put them in your budget? And what do you do with them once you've calculated them? I'm working in the Money Mastery Toolkit, which is in my bio, but these worksheets are also in the beginner budgeting guide if you just wanted those, or you can follow along on a piece of paper. So sinking funds are essentially longer term savings goals you have for expenses that you know are coming in the future that you want to go ahead and save for now. This is doing future you a favor. So right now we're looking at a paycheck budget, which obviously budgets out a singular paycheck. But how you figure out what your sinking funds are is that you start with a monthly overview plan. This is your plan for what your money's going to do for you in a month. So first you write down all of your fixed expenses and you total those out. You write down all your variable expenses and you total those out. The difference between variable expenses and sinking funds is that variable expenses are basically your monthly spending categories that you're putting a cap on for yourself, whereas sinking funds are, like I said, longer term savings goals that you are putting aside in a savings account for later use. So after you total up your fixed and your variables, you add them together to get your total monthly expense amount. You subtract that from your monthly income to get your leftover, and your leftover gets allocated out to your different sinking funds. If the term sinking fund gets you tripped up, don't worry, it's just a widely used term for this. You can just think of them as your savings. So you can have sinking funds for all different types of stuff. In this particular example, we have emergency fund, vacation, and car repairs. Emergency fund is the number one priority sinking fund. You need to have at least $1,000 there before you move on to other savings goals. Then you can save for things like vacation, car repairs, new car, new house, wedding. The list goes on and on. Just remember, these are longer term, bigger goals that you are saving for future you. So like I said, you allocate out your monthly leftover to all your different sinking funds, or just one sinking fund. It's completely up to you, but every dollar does need a job, so make sure you end up with $0 after you allocate that all out. Then when you are paid, you go to the paycheck budget and you do the same thing. You look at what bills are due for this check and you take that out. You look at what variable expenses you're going to contribute to this check and you take those out, and then your leftover goes to your sinking funds. So once you've calculated those, what do you do with them? Well, you can either cash stuff them, meaning you go to the bank and you pull out these amounts that you have calculated. And by the way, these amounts are completely up to you. It is your prerogative what you want to do with your money, right? But like I said, make sure you have an emergency fund in there if you don't already. So you can cash stuff them, or you can just send them all to a high yield savings account right away instead of cash stuffing. If you do go the cash stuffing route, just know that eventually you're going to have to go deposit this money into the bank and move it to a high yield savings account. A high yield savings account is a savings account that accrues more interest than just a regular savings. And if you don't know any details or what that is, I have videos about it on my page, so go check those out. You can find these at any bank. Just Google high yield savings accounts. Make sure that the bank is FDIC insured so that your money is safe. And also make sure that the account does not have any monthly fees. I would recommend a high yield savings account that has buckets within the account. I know that Ally Bank has those buckets, and I know that because I use Ally Bank and I love them. But any savings account that has buckets will work too, or you can open multiple high yield savings accounts. It's completely up to you and what you're comfortable with. So how my setup works is that I have a high yield savings account at Ally Bank. For instance, it's one of my savings accounts. This is where my emergency fund is, but also I have buckets within there for my different sinking funds. So I have a vacation fund, I have a car repairs fund, I have a Christmas fund that I contribute to all year. All of these things are in high yield savings. You can pull out your money whenever you want to. Just keep in mind, some banks do have withdrawal limits for high yield savings or for savings in general, so you can only make a certain amount of withdrawals within a month. So basically, when you do your budget, you would send this whole amount right here. In this example, it's 205 to the high yield savings, and then you send it to the different buckets within your high yield savings so that you can look at it at a glance and see how much money is in which bucket, and you can make your goals from there. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and make sure you set up a high yield savings and so that you're maximizing the money you're getting on your money sitting in the bank instead of just getting 0.01% interest. You can be getting 4, 5, 6%. Happy saving. You got this, friend.